Welcome to the medication administration portion of Youth Camp Safety Standards. We are going to review the procedures for distributing medication at summer day camp, summer playground, and summer teen site. If you have your Youth Camp Safety Standards manual, follow along so you'll know where to reference the information when you need it this summer. Some of this information has been covered in the Health Program Policy and Procedures section of your manual and will be a review. Medication administration begins with the forms. As the camp director, it is your responsibility to ensure all information is completed and signed on the profile forms, health medication authorization forms, and immunization or waiver forms. For any individuals who are not immunized, list them on the participant, staff, volunteers without immunization shots form and post it in a confidential location where only staff have access to it. Upon reviewing the profile form, if there are any health issues or concerns listed, be sure to make note of it on the medical cheat sheet, which is also posted in a confidential location where only staff have access to it. You will also send a copy of the participant profile and the health medication authorization form to the Youth Camp Safety Standards Department Coordinator in the Special Programs Division and request an on-site training session for your staff from a health supervisor if applicable. To request staff training, send an email to YCSS@pgparks.com. Some examples of times when on-site training may be necessary are asthma, epilepsy or seizures, diabetes, severe allergic reactions, sickle cell. Remember, this is not an exhaustive list. If you're not sure, it's always better to send a request to be safe. Anytime you have a participant with seizures, diabetes, or carrying an EpiPen, a meeting with the parent and health supervisor is needed to complete an action plan. Here's a question for you to consider. When is the best time to submit a request for on-site training from the health supervisor? Take a moment to pause this video and discuss with your fellow directors and supervisors. When you're done, I'll see you back here.
The first thing that I would do is review all of my paperwork, meet with my staff. Once I find out that there is a health issue that needs to be reviewed by a health supervisor, I would make that appointment as soon as possible, and hopefully I can get them to come out within the first 2 days of camp.
Ideally, parents are turning in all required paperwork weeks in advance and you're reviewing it prior to the first day of the program or session, so you have time to request and schedule training prior to the start of the program. Understandably, we may not receive completed paperwork until the first day of the program or a few days into it. Do your best to submit requests as early as possible or as soon as you're made aware of a health issue or concern. There are a limited number of health supervisors available in a lot of program sites for them to get to. As we go through this section on medication, keep in mind that for summer playgrounds and teen sites, the only medication allowed on site is emergency medical devices such as an epinephrine auto-injector or EpiPen, glucagon, or an asthma inhaler. No other medication, over-the-counter or prescription can be kept on site or accepted by staff of these programs. This includes Tylenol, Motrin, Benadryl, nasal sprays, allergy medications, and etc. If participants need to take medication while attending a summer playground or teen site, they are encouraged to take the medication at home prior to or following the program, go home during the program to take the medication, or have their parent guardian come to the site and give them their medication during program hours. To carry the emergency medical device at a summer playground or teen site, the parent guardian must provide the site with the health medication authorization form signed by the parent and doctor. If the form is returned without a doctor's signature, the emergency device cannot be kept on site until the form is brought back with a doctor's signature. No matter the program setting, emergency medical devices must always be kept on the individual's person, except during specialized activities such as amusement park rides or swimming. During those specific instances, staff can hold the medication for the participant. Individuals can use a fanny pack or a book bag to always keep on them. Emergency medical devices should be self-administered by the individual. If they are unable to self-administer their emergency medical device, program staff who have been trained by a health supervisor must immediately engage in the appropriate emergency plan and administer the life-saving medication. For summer camps, if a camper is taking medication and or carrying an emergency medical device on site, the health medication authorization form must be signed by both the parent and the doctor for each medication or emergency medical device. A parent cannot turn in one form with multiple medications listed on it. If the authorization form is missing one or both signatures, do not accept any medication on site until the form has been returned complete. Once you have a complete health medication authorization form, complete a medication administration log or emergency medical device usage chart for each medication the individual will be taking or keeping on site, and store it with the non-emergency medication in the locked box. The log is filled out each time the medication is self-administered. At camps, when a parent provides you with medication, accept no more than the amount required for the duration of the enrolled camp session. For example, if your camp is 5 days long, only accept 5 days worth of medication. If a camper is registered for multiple sessions, only accept the medication for the current session. Along with the medication, parent guardians need to provide the side effects of the medication to be stored with the medication administration log in the lockbox. Under no circumstances should program staff accept Diastat rectal gel. This is an emergency medication that can be used by someone with epilepsy or seizures. However, due to the invasive nature in which it is administered, program staff are not able to administer this medication. If an individual has seizures and needs Diastat, encourage the parent guardian to speak to the individual's doctor and see if the nasal spray version is appropriate for them to use. Diastat is a nasal spray, can be on site and administered by program staff who have been trained by the health supervisor and who are certified in first aid. Before accepting medication or allowing an emergency medical device on site, ensure it is in the original container. If it is a prescription medication, check that the pharmacy label has the individual's name, prescription number, date filled, prescribing doctor's name, name of medication, and direction for use. For over-the-counter medications, ensure the medication is in the original container that includes directions for use and a list of side effects. If the side effects are not listed, the parent guardian must provide the list for your records. Remind parents that the first dose of a new medication has to be taken at home at least 24 hours prior to attending the program. We're going to pause here so that you can review some sample pharmacy labels and health medication forms with your coworkers. Look to see if you could accept the medication as provided or if something is missing and needs to be corrected. Share your findings with your team and discuss the actions you would take if this was brought to you at your site. Welcome back. It's time to discuss self-administration and medication supervision at camp. Remember, the only time you'll be supervising self-administration at a summer playground or teen site would be for an emergency medical device. Any medication distribution is supervised by the director of the trained designee in all programs. This includes emergency medical devices. All medication must be self-administered. Self-administration means that the act of an individual injecting, or applying the individual's own non-prescription or prescription medicine. They can identify their own medication and follow directions for its use, including the correct route and dose. When supervising an individual self-administering their medication, the process to follow is: supervise one individual at a time and keep this as your primary focus. If there's a situation developing at camp, another staff should be responsible for managing it while you're supervising the self-administration process. Remove the medication from the lockbox. Never take your attention away from the medication or leave it unattended. Assure the R's: right medication, right time, right dosage, right method, and right individual. Compare the medication label to the medication log. If there is a discrepancy, do not allow the individual to self-administer the medication. Have the individual verify their medication. If you are at the TR site, have a coworker verify the medication with you if needed. Supervise removing and taking the correct amount. Complete the medication administration log and return the medication to the lockbox. In the event of an emergency and an emergency medical device is needed, supervise the self-administration of the emergency medical device, or a staff trained by the health supervisor can administer it if the individual is not able to do so. Assure the right medication is taken or given at the right dosage by the right method by the right individual. Call 911, notify the parent, guardian, your supervisor, and park police. The note of injury, illness, incident form is completed. The top copy is sent home to the parent and the bottom copy is attached to the individual's profile health forms. The injury illness report form is completed, submitted to your supervisor, and a copy attached to the individual's profile health form. Document usage on the emergency medical device usage chart. If there are any discrepancies, do not allow the individual to self-administer medication. If the situation allows, notify the parent, guardian, and your supervisor. If it is a life-threatening situation, immediately engage the appropriate emergency plan and call 911 and notify the park police. Now that we've covered how to accept medication and supervision of self-administration, let's review worst-case scenarios, situations, just to make sure you're prepared and know how to respond. As a reminder, if you can't remember in the heat of the moment, look in your youth camp safety standards manual and follow the step-by-step instructions. If an individual accidentally self-administers the wrong medication, wrong dosage of medication, and or has an allergic reaction to the self-administered medication and shows any of these signs or symptoms: itching, skin rash, swelling of face, tongue, lips, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, or difficulty breathing, immediately engage the appropriate emergency plan. Call 911 from inside a commission or board of education facility and give the name of the medication and dosage taken. Provide first aid care by program staff certified in first aid CPR. Notify the parent, guardian, your supervisor, and park police, and then document on the individual's medication administration log. Complete the MDH Youth Camp Incident Report Form and the appropriate MNCPPC Patron Injury Report Form. Submit the forms to your supervisor and attach a copy to the individual's participant profile form. Document in the program health log. If the individual does not have the correct dosage of the prescribed medicine, or the parent, guardian gave the program staff the wrong medication, do not allow the individual to self-administer the medication. Notify the parent, guardian, and your supervisor. Document on the individual's medication administration log. Document in the program health log. If allergies or asthma are noted on the health form, but the parent, guardian does not provide an emergency medical device, contact the parent, guardian to discuss why an emergency medical device is not being provided. Notify your supervisor of the situation. Document all attempts to contact the parent, guardian, and all conversations with them on the individual's profile health forms. If the individual does not have the correct medical device according to their form completed by the doctor, do not allow the individual to use the emergency medical device. Contact the parent, guardian to discuss why an approved emergency medical device is not being provided. Notify your supervisor of the situation. Document all attempts to contact the parent, guardian, and all conversations with them on the individual's profile health forms. In the event of a life-threatening situation where the emergency medical device will be needed, follow the appropriate emergency plan and call 911. At the end of the program, ensure every effort is made to return all unused medication to the parent, guardian. Both you and the parent will sign the final disposition of medication form as verification that the medication was returned. If you've made every attempt to return unused medication to the parent guardian, documented your efforts, and have been unsuccessful, dispose of the medication following these steps in the presence of a witness and verified by both of you signing the final disposition of medication form. Remove medication from its original container. Mix with an undesirable substance like wet coffee grounds, spoiled food, or etc. Put in an impermeable, nondescript container such as an empty can or sealable bag. Throw the container in the dumpster. Staff should not have to dispose of left behind emergency medical devices, as the individual should always have them on their person. However, if a device is left on site and staff have made every effort to return the device to the parent guardian, properly dispose of the device in the presence of a witness by wrapping asthma inhalers and epinephrine auto-injector or EpiPen in paper, placing in a bag and placing the bag in the dumpster. Before we wrap up, if you ever have a situation where you have a participant isolated in your first aid healthcare area, keep in mind they're still at camp and this can be a fun, lighthearted experience. Try to have coloring pages, stickers, maybe a pillow, or other activities that you can help to put a smile on their face and be discarded or easily sanitized after use. This concludes the medication administration section of the Youth Camp Safety Standards Manual training. All the forms we reviewed in this section can be found in the forms section of your Youth Camp Safety Standards Manual if you need extra copies. As always, if you have any questions, look in your book and when in doubt, ask your supervisor.